Joining us now from Washington, Fox News analyst Lanny Davis, a Democrat. All right, so I don't understand this at all. Tax-free organizations are supposed to be nonpartisan. That's number one rule. They're not supposed to be in business to advance any political party or cause. Yet this is so ridiculous. How could it happen?
Well, first of all, if they're violating the law, and I think that the law says you can't get involved in political campaign and endorse a particular candidate, but if they are not allowed to take a point of view or be ideological, then they ought to be deprived of tax exemption.
You got to tell me why it's happened. I don't want any theory here. Let me read you the law so you got it, okay?
Read it carefully now.
To be tax exempt, an organization may not be an action organization. Media Matters certainly is. Okay, that's what they do, all right? No, that's number one. It may not attempt to influence legislation. Media Matters does that all the time as a substantial part of its activities, and it may not participate in any campaign activity for or against political candidates. Media Matters meets with White House officials. They meet to advance the Democratic cause. And so they violate every one of these things. There's no doubt about it. And yet, because it helps the Barack Obama presidency and advances the cause of the Democratic Party, it gets tax-exempt status. That's the truth, Lanny. That's where we are.
First of all, I don't agree with your interpretation of what they're doing, but if they are doing what you're saying and it violates the rules...
Well, tell me where you disagree with me. You know Media Matters. You know what they do. You know what they put out. How can you possibly disagree with that?
Let me just make my point. The law has to be applied equally. Brent Bozell has a point of view and criticizes liberal media and criticizes liberal Democrats who are covered by liberal media. So you've got to be even-handed.
Did he meet with George W. Bush in the Bush 8 years? I don't think so.
I don't know, but I know that his point of view could influence legislation, and I never heard you say we should deprive Brent of his tax exemption. In the no-spin zone bill, we ought to be bipartisan.
I don't think this is even close. I don't know of anybody attacked by Mr. Bozell's organization. All he does is put stuff on the screen. You know that the Daily Caller uncovered documents that say that Media Matters was considering hiring private detectives to investigate conservative Americans they didn't like for the sole purpose of ruining their reputations. All right, that's an internal document posted on Daily Caller. Should that be subsidized by the federal government, Lanny? Yes or no?
As a policy matter, no.
Okay, that's good. Now you answered the question.
And let me go even one step further.
It is.
There are things, David Brock is a friend of mine, and I think the original intent was to expose misinformation on the media. To the extent he's changed his purpose and become ideological, then I think that was a mistake. But I also think Brent Bozell is another example, and evangelical churches, evangelical churches are another example.
Even if you were right, you are saying that you are using bad behavior alleged to excuse other bad behavior.
No.
Yes, you are. It's exactly what you're doing. You're saying, hey, Lanny Davis, don't want to deal with Media Matters, so I'll petty file the issue and go over to another organization.
No, I want to deal with Media Matters.
Well, then
if they're violating the law
now. All right, now.
If they're violating the law, they should be relieved of their taxes.
If they're violating the law, I think we've made the case quite clear that it's not the law that they're violating, it's the nonprofit statute. Now, one more question to you. I've known you a long time, and I respect you. When you tell me that you are a friend of David Brock, a vicious character assassin, that lowers my respect for you, Lanny Davis. No one could be a friend of this man, who is in business solely to injure people with whom he disagrees. If you're a friend of his, just for me, because I'm a friend of yours, that makes me queasy. I'll give you the last word.
Thank you for giving me the last word. First of all, I've known David since the days where he defended Bill Clinton. There are things that David and his organization have been doing, including posts about Israel, that have troubled me. So I don't agree with a lot of the direction of Media Matters, and if David is involved, I would say to David, I strongly disagree with you. So that's where my friendship comes from, Bill, during the Bill Clinton days.
But you got to reevaluate.
I don't agree with character assassination, and I don't agree with nastiness.
He wants to hurt people, and you shouldn't be enabling him at any cost.
But we ought to both demand. We ought to, though, be even-handed, and there are people on the right that do the same thing that you have also criticized.
No, that is, again, trying to excuse bad behavior by pointing to other bad behavior. This is a story about a tax-exempt status that should not be allowed for Media Matters. If you have evidence on another organization, you bring it to me, and I'll do a separate segment.
I don't. I just want to be even-handed about investigating.
If you don't
all
have
sides.
the level of evidence that we have, don't even bring it up. Lanny, thanks very much.